On today's expose, Kevin, I wanted to highlight this one's a little rando. This is Ozymandias. He's, of course, based on Egyptian lore. He was first introduced in Uncanny X-Men number 332 in May of 1996. I think you'll see why I chose him, though, even though he's a little rando. So he is kind of in charge of Clan Aqaba, which is Apocalypse's little, cult. He has kind of a shit past because in ancient Egypt, he was following the pharaoh Amenhotep, and then Amenhotep was kind of defeated by Ramatut, who was like, I'm going to take over everything. I'm going to make you my servant, Ozzy. You're my bitch now. So then, under Ramatut, Ozymandias basically killed all of En-Sabanur's family. More on that in a second. So then when En-Sabanur was like, oh fuck, I'm a mutant, he was like, I'm gonna go steal all this celestial equipment from Ramatut, who actually ended up being from the future. So he had all this knowledge of the future, so he was like ruling with all this like technology. So En-Sabanur stole his technology, he pretty much becomes Apocalypse, and then he's like, wait a minute, Ozymandias, you're that asshole who killed my entire family. So he basically enslaved Ozymandias, turned him into stone, turned him immortal. So he's like a living stone. He can move, but he's like not a person. And then as a punishment, he Apocalypse put all the knowledge of all time into Ozzy all at once. So it drove him crazy. So when Apocalypse was first kind of killed for the first time, he was like, thank God for the Summers for killing him because I hate that guy too. He's an asshole. So that's kind of your history on Ozymandias.
Beautiful.
Was that too much?
I go where I wanna go. Gene.
Scott.
Gene?
Scott. I summon the Arctic winds.
No more mutants!
I summon the Arctic winds.
No more mutants!
I summon the Arctic winds.
No more mutants! There's always more gators in the bayou.
Don't get a
Welcome to this week's Solving for X. My name is Shawn. I'm the ultimate excavationist.
And I'm something of an X fan myself, Kevin.
And I'm so excited because this has been a long time in the making. I remember this person liked one of our things on Solving for X, and I was like, Kevin, we have to have this person on our podcast. And Kevin was like, girl,
I'm working on it.
It's already been did. I was like, oh, okay, sorry. So I'm pleased to announce we have Demanda Martini on our show today. How are you, Demanda?
Hi, I'm doing well. I'm just fresh back from Salt Lake City for Fan X convention. So yeah, a little tired, but so excited to be here. Thanks you guys for having me on your show.
I'm so excited.
Thank you. And thank you for all of your very nerd kind of drag / cosplay. I was going through it last night. I some of my favorites are nobody represents Boom Boom, but you represented Boom Boom. Dazzler, one of my all-time favorites. Thank you for bringing it.
Yeah, and you're besties with Dax, so we had to have you at some point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what got you into drag?
So it's a long and twisted story, but the Cliff's Notes version is I grew up in dance and theater stuff, and also reading comics. So kind of performing and costuming and the female characters that I grew up loving, it just kind of all came together at some point. I've been doing drag for just over 10 years and cosplaying about as long. It's sort of what did the chicken or the egg happen first? It's kind of did I start cosplaying first? Because I can't remember. It's been so long. But but I've kind of like been a little more serious about it for the past like 5 years. The first 5 years was like a lot of Halloweens, some like special event parties. But 6 years ago, I started doing a drag cabaret, and that just kind of like I just continue like stepping stone till where I am now.
Yeah. The journey.
Yay. I love that.
Yes, very much.
What's your relationship with X-Men the animated series?
So I was already a huge X-Men nerd by the time the animated series premiered in 1992. I was already like fully into it. When I first started seeing stuff about the cartoon coming out, I was like, a cartoon series just for me and no one else, just mine. I was obsessed from the very first episode. So I'd already been reading comics for about 2 years at that point, maybe like give or take. And I was just so excited to see the characters that I was already obsessed with in person and in action. I remember every morning, or every Saturday morning, I think it was on at like 11 a.m. in my DC area thing, and me and my brothers recorded it every day so we could watch them all back later. And even when I was in trouble at school or whatever, my parents still allowed me to watch the X-Men. Like there was one time I was not doing really well and I was grounded. I wasn't allowed to watch any television except I was still allowed to watch X-Men on Saturday mornings.
That must mean they knew that it was super important to you, or they were secretly interested themselves in watching it with you.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So cool. And do you have a favorite X-Men character?
It changes a lot. Like people will be like top 5. So Dazzler, of course, is like my favorite, my ultimate. I've done a bunch of Dazzler looks. Jean Grey, Emma, Betsy, Rachel, Kitty. Kitty's the one who like brought me into comics. Like I've told the story a few times on several other kind of interviews. But the Marvel trading cards is really what got me into the X-Men. And Kitty Pryde's first card in the Marvel series, it's like I think it's Arthur Adams art when she's holding Lockheed. It's like all of those people are definitely the ones that continue in like my rotation and ones that I do a lot of looks from.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish
so many fun ones.
I got to grow up with you.
I know, right?
I was obsessed with the cards. I was reading the comics. We would have been the best of friends.
Yes. Well, and like the weird thing is that so growing up, like no one talked about it. So like I talked about nerdy stuff with like my brothers, but like you didn't want to like talk about it at school. So it wasn't until like later and like the internet and me being online on like uncannyxmen.net and the forums and like finding not only other fans to talk about stuff with, but also like queer fans to be able to talk about stuff with, that I really realized like how much people really loved the X-Men. Like, of course, like, you know, I read like Wizard magazine and stuff like that. And like the X-Men are always kind of popular, but like I never got to talk about it with anybody because, you know, only nerds read comics. And so it was just kind of like this thing of like I didn't talk about like how big of a nerd I really was for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, have the times changed?
Yep. And
I
feel like
now I have like it all over my walls and all over my room, and it's like quite literally my brand of of drag. So it's just kind of like, yeah, there's no hiding it now.
Right. And with the MCU, I feel like people come to me with like questions, and I'm like, she's that girl now. Like she's got all the answers.
I mean, quite literally. So one of my best friends. So he's like nerd adjacent. Like he grew up watching the cartoon, and and like has seen movies and stuff. But like when we go see like the like MCU movies or even unfortunately the DC movies, like we'll watch it and then afterwards he'll be like, okay, so I have questions. So who was this? What is this person doing? What do you think is happening? What does this person do in the comics that, you know, people seem to be so shocked about or whatever?
I need to know.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, and like it's fun being that person for sure. So recently, pardon me. So in at FanX, and then before that at FlameCon, I did a panel with Gray Malkin Lane podcast about the X-Men fashion, and so like the one with at FlameCon, like we had like X-Men creators, which was really cool to have them be a part of it. But for the one at FanX, it was just two drag performers locally from Salt Lake City who had like zero X-Men background. So like they could objectively talk about like the fashion of the X-Men. And so like they would talk, they'd be like, okay, so now for some context, let me tell you about like what's going on in this image or why, you know, what era this is for this character. Which is just, it's just kind of fun to just be that person who has like, I've read UncannyX-Men.net backwards and forwards multiple times. So, you know, I'm just, unfortunately or fortunately, I just have like all of this X-Men knowledge stored in my brain.
Same. That's why I needed this podcast.
Yeah. And I'm like the casual fan that's like, I like it. I know some things, but not like that. So like,
Yeah.
like you need the charmed world for that. 'Cause then I'm that person.
Yep.
All right.
Cool. So let's get into our intro. So first off, our last question was, what do you think Apocalypse promised Mystique for her health? So we didn't get a whole lot of answers on this, I think, because we're freshly coming back, but I like the ones we got. Kayla Faye 35 said immortality. Albert Dreaming said a child. Art of Lucas said going back in time to see destiny. And I remember I said, yeah, she gets a second chance with both Nightcrawler and with Rogue, because she realized she was horrible to Nightcrawler too.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you said?
Mine was similar to that. I didn't include Nightcrawler in there, but you know it makes sense because she's learning. She's got touched by the Nightcrawler feels, even though she doesn't want to.
Yeah. Or we did get this from our good friend Ryan Yorio from the first Beyond Good and Evil. He said, I think that Mystique would go back in time and switch Nightcrawler with Graydon. She would throw his ass off the cliff and not baby Nightcrawler. Or she would go back in time and make sure the Fox higher ups allow her to have her wife in the cartoon X-Men the Animated Series.
Very nice.
Very nice. Did you have any thoughts on this, Amanda?
I mean, I would assume that she's trying to go back in time to do something with her kids, or again, Destiny. Obviously, like cartoon canon wise, I don't think that we're allowed to talk about Destiny. But
I'll bleep it.
Yeah, and as we all know, Rogue is her favorite child, so I'm sure it has something to do with like her fixing the relationship with Rogue, since she tried to turn her into a slave for Apocalypse the first time they met.
Join me.
Yeah. Well, cool. I thought we'd do some quick updates too, now that things have kind of changed in the world of X-Men. So right now, if you haven't heard, X-Men 97 is planned to come out on January 3rd. Of course, as we've seen in this past year, that date can change at any time, but that's why we're restarting now. So that way we'll be done with season 5, which we're going straight into. We'll be done December 15th. I may sneak in a quiz for Kevin, and then we'll start on X-Men 97 right when it starts.
Yeah.
Yay!
So, yeah, we just got to kick it into gear. We can't wait any longer. So don't hate us.
Yeah, and I think this is a good time because as Kevin and I have talked about, like, they've been talking about the show at cons still. They've been making announcements, so it seems like it's okay to talk about. And we're kind of in this stretch where it seems like the strike is kind of like on good terms, so we felt pretty okay with restarting now.
Yeah.
Kevin, I only have
Yeah.
8 more episodes to go to complete my Genegasm counts. I'm excited.
Oh my goodness! Woohoo!
But I'm saving those for the final episode, so you don't get to know how many Genegasms we're at.
All right. Secrets.
So, okay, all right.
There's already like I think there's already like a hyper mix on YouTube of them because I know that I sampled some of them for my Jean Grey number.
Yeah.
I did the same thing when I made the Genegasm soundbite. I took that YouTube clip. It's so helpful. So, without further ado, because this is a long intro, we are on Beyond Good and Evil Part 3, The Lazarus Chamber, which aired November 18th, 1995, written by Michael Edens, directed by Larry Houston. We only get one more directed by Larry Houston, I think, and then he's not on season 5.
Oh, gasp.
Oh, gasp. All right, let's get started. Scene 1. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of the axis of time, Bishop has been walking solemnly for a day, or a week, or however long he's been walking when our ever-loving Bender makes his return. Just then, the light path quivers. Bender tells Bishop a great being is threatening time. He reveals to Bishop that it's Apocalypse. He then shows Bishop a look at 3999 AD, where Tyler and Cable are scaling a wall. So I kind of put a 90s moment, even though it's technically an 80s moment, but at this point, 90s moment is anything retro.
You got mail.
90s moments.
When Bender says, "All walk and no play makes Bishop a dull boy." I love that reference. Did you catch that reference?
Yeah. And Ryan said this on the first part. I was really getting the spirit of 3D from Muppets in this one with the laughing, like, like
Yeah.
Do we know who the voice actor was of this character? Because I remember watching it as a kid being like, who is this guy? I'm annoyed because also he's like non-canon, until like the final reveal. But I was so annoyed being like, with all of the people that they could have used, they make like this weird custodian guy who's just extra annoying happening.
So
Right.
I'm going to blow your mind right now because this is the voice of Beetlejuice from the cartoon.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me this. That's right.
That's hilarious.
We talked about this. I forgot. It's been a
We
while.
But I was being dramatic for Demanda, not for you. So
Okay.
I love that though. Good for him.
Right.
So, egads, what a transition. So we find ourselves back in Cairo, Egypt. Tyler and Cable start, and they engage in their mission to break the government-controlled time machine. We see Cable's crew run into resistance. The dome is still up. Cable goes on the attack. He is shot and paralyzed and falls to his knees, which, by the way, happens a few times, and I'm like, Cable, sir,
Yeah.
get it together. It's up to Tyler to carry out the mission. He is attacked by machines, but fights back. Cable climbs back up the ledge in reverse animation, because we literally just saw him climb down to help his son. So watching the scene, so I literally just watched it like an hour ago just to like refresh my memory, because you had laid this out very beautifully, Scott or Sean. But I was like, let me just like get a visual. And why they made Tyler a thing, like in 95, like I guess the whole Tolliver storyline was like a big deal, and so I guess in the cartoon, I guess they thought that they should set Tyler up to be somebody, but it was just so awkward. I'm like, why is there this kid? And also the last time we saw him, he was like a teenager, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just really weird. But I did enjoy. I enjoyed seeing the other resistance fighters in the future. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Tyler was totally Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem, remember that? Yeah, that's
He
what he looked like.
Yes, 100%. That was that design.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm glad you noticed the just reversing the animation on him climbing. It was so funny to me.
Yes, I mean, I understand. We got to save our money where we can, but it was also just so obvious because even the background was moving in reverse at some point. So I was like, "You guys,
Come on.
it's something in Batman and Robin when Nightwing gets strangled by the vines and Poison Ivy's lair at the end, because it's literally just reverse and then forward a few times. It's so obviously so capable.
Oh, these references. I love it. We would have been the best of friends.
When you're the best of friends. Okay. Me?
Yeah.
Back in the compound, Garrison Kane sets a charged bomb to take out the station. He is chased by one of the machines, but his bomb takes down the shield. Outside, Cable watches helplessly as Tyler is shot and falls down a cliff. No! Tyler tells his dad to leave him and fulfill the mission. You must go on without me, And then Cable runs into the dome where he is attacked by 3 machines. He easily dispatches them. Cable activates the elevator and bounces. He enters a machine he calls Grey Malkin. And starts it up. We get a whole Resident Evil train. Oh, yeah! to elevator to control room sequence. Cable takes off in the ship.
It totally felt Resident Evil 2 to me, especially.
It's very much like, let's go. Watch out for the liquor.
Yeah. We have a cameo.
Come out, wherever you are.
Don't worry about us, Dingo. We'll make sure we can.
Cameo.
But did we ever establish in the cartoon, because I can't remember them ever referencing that the mansion is on Grey Malkin Lane?
I don't think they do ever reference it.
So again, me watching it as a kid, I was like, wait, Grey Malkin, I know that. Why do I know that phrase? And then of course, I was looking, through my comics and realized that it's the street that the mansion is on, and I was like, that's such a weird name for them to give this time machine without any other reference as to why, that's the weird reference or whatever. Just what?
They didn't tell people.
Oh, Larry Houston and the lead.
Yeah.
Being
This
sneaky
is
is
definitely Larry Houston.
it's like if you're in the know, you know. If not, too bad.
Yeah. So yeah, since you bring it up, that's our cameo. Grey Malkin as the ship first appeared in X-Force 8, January 92. This was Cable's primary ship. Some kind of fun tie-ins, ship that we met in X-Men the Animated Series, that programming got eventually put into Grey Malkin, so they kind of become one. And then eventually X-Force and S.H.I.E.L.D. are fighting on Grey Malkin, and they kind of destroy it. And so Grey Malkin pretends to self-destruct, and then Magneto finds it and makes one of his Avalons on it. And then that one gets destroyed, and then Cable makes a place called Providence, which is kind of the same thing, a place for mutants and better society. So lots to do with this freaking ship. And to Amanda's point, it's just a quick reference, but there's so much history with this ship if you know. A little bit more on the Grey Malkin too. It's actually called Grey Malkin Lane because of the Grey Malkin family. So there's actually a mutant that was found under the mansion who calls himself Jonas Grey Malkin, just goes by Grey Malkin. And it's eventually revealed that he is a ancestor of Charles Xavier.
Oh my goodness gracious!
No, but he's not a direct ancestor, so he's a cousin.
So it's like cousin Oliver from the Brady Bunch. Got it.
Yes.
The sister's brother's cousin's roommate.
Right. Because it's well, he was buried in the ground in a hate crime. So
Yeah.
Direct ancestor. Although now he's alive and has a
Ooh,
boyfriend,
So everything's
so
good in
for
the
him.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I think we're good for scene 4.
It's you.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Oh, it
that's
is
you,
me. Oh, good. I get this line. But Apocalypse is a saucy bitch. He uses the time stream to disrupt the ship and pull it to the axis. He is aware of Cable's plan, and he's actually pretty impressed by it. He monologues that he has a service for Cable to perform, winky face. First, before destroying his Lazarus chamber, Cable is placed in the present where Gray Malkin lands at the manor.
I mean, Apocalypse is really sassy in that scene. So I read this and I was watching the scene and I was like, Apocalypse is very. It's also because this these episodes where the meme comes from of Apocalypse singing "I'm Every Woman." Like now, all I can really see is like Apocalypse just being like extra sassy. And he's like, you have a job to do for me, and it's very
Ursula. I was getting Ursula.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, she is my idol. She is my vibe. All right, scene 5. Inside the war room, Storm, Xavier, and Wolverine speak with Cable. Cable seems to have no desire to want to help the X-Men battle off Apocalypse's hordes from kidnapping psychics. He just wants to complete his mission. Cable tells Xavier that he's boring and urges the old bald man to gather the team and let's get started. Cable is such a dick in this scene, and it's like they're trying to make him slightly unlikable, even though they're sort of like still posing him as like this really cool guy. But it's like it's just so weird how how mean he is. Like he's like, I literally don't care, and I don't want to hear anything about what anybody else has
doing
to
my
say.
mission. Yeah.
I only have yeah, and it's like, but it's like that's not what Cable does. But and it's because like the last time we saw him in well, I guess maybe not the last time, but one of the last times we saw him was the one with the virus. Is that Time Cops? Is that is that what that one's called? Yeah, Time Fugitives. And like he definitely like fully makes out a plan to like make sure everybody gets what they want. And so it's just kind of weird that he's like not doing that again. And also it's like, dude, aren't you from the future? Like, shouldn't you know something about, I don't know. It just seems, regardless, he's a dick. And it's very
Yeah. I don't know if it was just like bad animation or if it's on purpose. I don't know if you both noticed it, but like Wolverine is almost mimicking Cable as he's talking.
Oh.
It made me laugh.
Fun. It's like, this guy's cool. I'm gonna do it, or I don't know.
Yeah.
or am I being teasy? Is he being like, I don't know.
He's like, I mimic who I want to mimic.
Yeah, right. It's like, am I making fun of you, or do I want to be you? I don't know. All right. Meanwhile, Beast and Shard are working away in the lab. Beast tells Shard that it's conceivable that Bishop may have been thrown off course by a more powerful force in the time stream. Shard gets mad at Beast and calls him a duty head. She says there's no way that's what happened to her brother, even though it is.
Dramatic irony.
like, again, what a weird interaction where people just aren't believing science.
Like, impossible! Why would you say that about my brother?
But it's also just like, Shard, you're not smarter than Beast, but also, aren't you from the future, and shouldn't this already make sense to you? I don't know. I mean, I haven't been through the time stream, but that sounds fairly conceivable. But also the weird animation that Beast pulls up, it's very like, see, can't you just see by this simulation? It's like, Beast, no, I can't. But it's anyway. I love cartoon logic. It's so great.
I know. I feel like I would have believed him up until that shoddy animation. I'd be like, you just completely lost me, and fuck you. I'm leaving.
It's like, are you trolling me right now?
Yeah, come on, Beast. All right. Elsewhere in the manor, Cyclops and Archangel go to visit Sabretooth. Cyclops intellect shames Sabretooth and demands to know who orchestrated this whole shebang. Just then, Wolverine pops by and tells Cyke and Archangel that they're wanted in the war room, which seems a bit convenient. Wolverine enters the cell and unlocks Sabretooth's bonds. Wolverine closes the door and the two beasties fight.
I just love like Sabretooth is like like the noises he made.
Yeah.
He's like, what is that?
He's a cat. He's
Yeah.
making loud cat noises. I love that Cyclops just full on is like, you're too stupid, so I need to know what's happening. He literally just like, you're not smart enough to do this by yourself.
You don't even go here.
And then Sabretooth calls him pretty boy, and you know Cyclops is like,
Excuse you?
Archangel's standing right here. I don't know why you're talking to me.
Right.
In the war room, we see Xavier meeting with Cyclops, Jubilee, Cable, Gambit, Rogue, Archangel, Beast, Storm, and Shard. Cable reveals his discovery of the Lazarus chamber. He tells them every 100 years, Apocalypse goes into the chamber to rejuvenate himself. Archangel validates it with the research against his own. He tells them his research suggests the same thing. Cyclops tries to get them to stick to the plan, and he throws his panties I really, the whole time when Cyclops and Cable are fighting, I just want to be like, Dad, it's not a phase! It's not a phase, Dad!
I love that.
Just listen to me, Dad! Dad, I'm right.
You're not the boss of me.
You can't tell me what to do, Dad. It's very funny. Again, obviously, it's like kind of done on purpose to have them like fight against each other. But but again, like Cable not seeing the whole picture is just very kind of out of character and frustrating. But also, like, I guess bad guys are just cool. Like cool guys are just cool.
Can't tell him what to do.
COOL.
Stop it! You know that's my weakness.
Come on, Grease 2, but I'm just gonna say it twice.
Yes,
I love
so do
Grease
I.
2.
Actually,
All right.
It's funny. One of my first drag experiences was seeing like a queen with natural hair going down half her back do that number. And this was when I was in my early 20s. This was like 100 years ago. And like nobody in the club reacted. And I was like living my best life. Like, yes, go Ryder!
I have to say, I do love when a drag performer will do like a song that's obviously geared toward a specific audience that's maybe a little older in the crowd. Because like the kids are like, what?
Oh,
What
yeah.
is this? What's going on? At the drag show that was at in Salt Lake City that we went to, it was a nerd show because the convention was there, and one of the performers, Lainey Bryant, who is hilarious, did a Star Trek number, but original series Star Trek, and the host was really like, "This is for the oldies in the crowd because I don't think anybody still watches Star Trek," and I was like.
Right.
Just a quick note, and then I'll let you go, Kevin. In the comics, they never call this the Lazarus Chamber, which is interesting.
Oh.
It's the Rejuvenation Chamber. Part of me is like, I wonder if they did this because of Batman, the animated series, because Ra's al Ghul, of course, had his Lazarus Chamber or Lazarus Pit, so it makes it easier.
To make it a catch-all. You know what that is? So that's what this is.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Probably.
All right. So enter Wolverine dragging Sabretooth. Oh, that's kind of sexy. I don't know.
Everything's sexy to you.
That's true. He lets them all know that Sabes was also working with Apocalypse. He told me things. He whispered sweet nothings in my ear. Wolverine pushes Xavier to use his power on Sabretooth to get some answers. I love this though. He's like, but I swore not to invade people's minds without their consent. I'm like, when? Since yesterday? Like,
Yeah.
you've always been doing this. But he sees that Apocalypse is working with the most powerful evil mutants on Earth. He pushes him to agree to Cable's plan. Cyclops orders Shard, Rogue, and Jubilee to stay behind. Shard doesn't want to stay behind, but Xavier explains to her that her ability to travel through time may be their only hope if they fail their mission. Archangel convinces Xavier to let him join the mission. Yeah, I'm here too, remember?
Yeah.
My favorite is when Wolverine drags Sabretooth in, even though he is a very dangerous mutant that they left in handcuffs and a full muzzle, and just like leaves him on the floor in there. It's like, just leave him in his chains. Like, why did you bring him to the war room? That seems sweet.
That's a good point.
Used and abused. He's tired.
And then at the end, when Archangel says, "I want to go," and they're like, "No, you're too into vengeance." He literally says one sentence and is like, "You know what? You're right. Come on."
That's true too.
Again, this is one of my favorite shows of all time, so I feel okay in like dragging it a little bit. But I mean, it obviously, like, for the sake of like story and moving it along, and like it's a cartoon, but it's just like, oh my gosh, like, you don't want to like question him a little bit.
Right. I love that. All right. Outside, the X-Men board Greymalkin, but the ship, not the character. Cable takes off and enters the time stream. Unbeknownst to the X-Men, Apocalypse is watching from the axis of time. This is all part of his plan. Enter Mystique. She has been summoned by Apocalypse. He tells her the endgame has begun. There's a really, really quick cameo here that I totally missed. I had to like rewind 3 times to find it.
Come out, wherever you are.
Don't worry about us, Dingo. We'll make sure we can.
Cameo.
So behind Apocalypse and Mystique, you can see the psychics who are imprisoned. And it's all the ones that we've called out before, except for one, and that's Moondragon. Moondragon.
Yeah.
Which I love. So that was my favorite part of this episode, is seeing all of the people in the tubes, because like, again, I don't know if you got, but like Karma was in there, and Rachel, and Typhoid Mary, which is such a random.
Some of the ones that are in
like,
4. Now Kevin knows.
Oh, sorry.
I can't hear over the headphones.
It's okay. They still don't do anything but stand there, so it's okay. All right. So back in the time stream, Greymalkin is jostled about as the X-Men traverses through time. That's it. And Wolverine makes a joke. Yeah.
Woo. Well, let's go back over to Bishop on the light path. Come on, follow me. He still be walking. He is nearly hit by Greymalkin. Whoa. That's it. That's the whole scene. That and a joke about bad drivers, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, they're such like quick, like we just got to throw this in just for comedy value. All right, Greymalkin arrives in 1200 BC Cairo, Egypt. Cable navigates them to a plateau overlooking the pyramid housing the chamber. Xavier sends Archangel and Storm ahead to scout the pyramid for enemies. Down below, the remaining team heads out on foot to the pyramid. Storm and Archangel land, and Storm reminisces on her childhood in Cairo. Storm tells Archangel to get the others while she verifies the pyramid is unguarded.
Right. She's like, my parents loved it here.
It's a very thing for her to like lie down and be like, I remember my childhood in Cairo.
Isn't it beautiful? Yes.
Yeah, just to get that little bit of background so we know that she is in fact from Cairo. As nighttime sets over Cairo in 1200 BC, Beast goons out. Sorry, I not read that.
That's sexy too.
Beast goes out over cutting the pyramid in its prime. He notices the pyramid was most likely just completed. Xavier orders Storm to create a diversion. She calls the winds to cover them with a sandstorm. Cyclops goes to Cable and shows sympathy for Cable losing Tyler since he recently lost Jean. Cable doesn't care for sympathy and wants to get back to the mission because real dudes don't have feelings. Beast explains to Cable that if they defeat Apocalypse, it may only unleash another evil, since evil is a part of the fabric of reality. Cable turns to leave.
So this scene, since it was very like tee nudge nudge, it's his father, Cyclops'
Yeah.
dad. It made me think of. Did you hear about the recent Funko Pop reveal of a character that we should be getting in X-Men '97? Yeah,
Yes.
so Madeline Pryor. So it makes me think we're gonna finally get like the whole Cable backstory, because in the comics, she's the one who pooped him out, not Jean. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
She did it by herself in the mansion in a rainstorm while they were on a mission. Madeline Pryor is the goat. Absolutely. But so the other thing is that I don't think that. Do not. Never mind. I think that's for a later discussion in this at the end. But I think that it's Madeline in X-Men '97.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because again, we saw a teaser picture image of Jean pregnant, but I don't think that that's Jean.
Oh, I like that theory.
Mm.
Look at you. We would have been the best of friends.
All right. Cable approaches the pyramid just ahead of the team. Beast confidently opens up the pyramid, but he is met with a laser to the back. Out come the ancient Egyptian version of the Four Horsemen. Ooh, the X-Men go into battle against the Horsemen. As the battle rages on, Cyclops sends Xavier to go after Apocalypse. He calls for Cable, Wolverine, and Beast to accompany him. The four enter the pyramid while the remaining team continues the battle outside.
So, fun little thing I noticed. When they run into the temple, did that look familiar at all to you?
Run into the temple. No, I didn't think about it. Was it used
They
before?
use the exact same animation from all the way back in episode 1 when they're running into the mutant research facility. Only they added Cable in between.
So that's why they use the exact same mutants from that scene.
Too funny.
Yeah, Cyclops and Beast, I could tell were the same exact, and then Cable's thrown in. All right. Inside the pyramid, the four slowly walk through the tunnels while searching for the chamber. Wolverine stops them. He caught a scent of fresh tree sap. So random. In the middle of Egypt. I smell fresh tree sap. Cable tells him he already knows every booby trap. He walks into a booby trap. Beast saves him from being impaled. Beast then helps everyone across except Wolvie. Beast reminds us that Apocalypse at some point made modifications to the pyramid defenses because time travel. Kind of like the end of Bill and Ted, where they're like, and then we'll go back and do this, and then suddenly it's just there.
It also, Cable's like, I don't remember this being here, and it's like, Apocalypse is obviously traveling through time. Like, dude, don't worry about it.
It's like, how is this possible? I know everything. Oh, all right. Doesn't make any sense.
Part of me, though, calls shenanigans, because why would Apocalypse add defenses to deter the team?
Right, if he wants them there anyway.
Yeah.
To make it harder, and also if you can kill some of them off, like,
that's
even
true.
better. As long as it's not Xavier, that's his whole thing. Outside, Archangel is locked in combat with the ancient Egyptian Death. Gambit, Storm, and Cyclops hold their own against their counterparts until suddenly the Horsemen retreat into an opening up on top of the pyramid. It closes just before Archangel can follow them in. Cyclops realizes that the Horsemen are going back to protect the chamber and orders everyone to get inside to protect it.
Oh, it's a trap.
Yeah. Like, hi, what, how do you spot a trap? Oh, the guys that you were just fighting all decide to go inside where you just sent the rest of your team.
Yeah. So our merry team of 4, great segue, continues their way through the pyramid. Wolvie tells Cable, "You'll be here in 5,000 years. Which way do we go?" Oh my gosh. Just then, the horsemen make their attack from above. Cable makes a run for it, but really it's just a diversion to trap one of the horsemen. Beast is left to protect Xavier, who has fallen out of his chair and lays helpless. "I've fallen and I can't get up." The outside team arrives just in time to see Cable shot down and the horsemen retreat. Cable points to a door and lets them know the Lazarus chamber is just ahead. The X-Men leave Cable and push forward to find the Lazarus chamber.
Ooh.
Again, Cable seems pretty useless.
Yeah.
And like when Beast comes over and he literally touches the back of his neck and he goes, "There's nothing broken, but he's not going to be good for the next few minutes."
Go on.
It's like, what?
Well, Cable does have
What?
one really significant value in this episode, and that's yelling, "What's happening?"
Yeah. Like, oh my.
over and over again. That should have been one of our counters.
Sure.
The X team enters the Lazarus chamber. Beast is fascinated by the pyramid. It acts as a huge energy generator to power the Apocalypse's rejuvenation pod. Just then, the pod opens and a sleeping Apocalypse is revealed. Wolverine tells them to wait. He smells a rat. The sleeping Apocalypse reveals herself to be Mystique. She tells Apocalypse to trigger the trap. A bright light washes over the team.
Ah ha 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 ha.
My favorite is him triggering the trap. Is him just like mashing his hands into some random computer board in the acts of time. He just goes, like that's the trap. That's
It was really funny
what he
because
said.
when B said like the pyramid acts as an energy conduit, I was like, wait, I think people really have that theory, and I looked it up just to be sure. And then last night I was watching the new Survivor, and they randomly started talking about the pyramids, and now they were like thought to be energy conduits. I was like, what the fuck are the odds?
Yeah.
Listen, the Leewalds and Larry Houston, they're looking shit up. They're
Yep.
looking at facts. Outside the chamber, Cable sees the light and goes to check on the team. Everyone is knocked out, but there seems to be no sign of Xavier.
Bah.
Yeah. So, back at the axis of time, Xavier and Mystique appear from their trip to Egypt. Mystique asks Apocalypse, "What the hell was that all about?" Apocalypse tells her, "It was the most important move of all, nabbing Xavier."
And also, he makes the chess like capturing the king.
Yeah, it's so dramatic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Kevin, since this is your first time in a long time watching this, we'll start with you. What were your thoughts on this episode?
Oh, well, there was a lot going on. There was a lot of dancing around the same stuff. So, like, it's like, I feel like nothing really changed compared to last episode, but we are, like, all on the same timeline all together now. So I guess that's, like, the conduit to move us ahead. But we are kind of, like, in the exact same place otherwise.
But he has Xavier.
I guess, but yeah. So... But yeah, now we have to know. I want to know what happens after the Xavier. I need to know.
Okay. So, would you say it was extreme, expected, or would you exit out?
Oh, I'm going that far already.
You've never had a problem before going that far.
I know. I'm going to give it expected.
Oh.
I liked it. I wasn't bad. I felt like it was exactly how I thought it would be. You know, like nothing that would like move me like crazy, but it was still really enjoyable. You know what I mean?
Okay. What are your thoughts, Amanda?
So it's definitely there's a lot of plot to move along and like a lot of action to get to. So it's not like there's a lot of like super big character beats or anything. So it's just like we're in the part of like the action movie where it's like, no,
Yeah.
we just need to keep we need to keep going forward. So in that respect, I would say also like expected, because it's like, oh well, we need to get the plot moving because we need to get to the end. Like there's not like anything major drastic changes, because like obviously we all know that Xavier will eventually be captured because he needs to capture all the psychics, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's kind of like the big plot of this. And also like what Kevin said, we're finally bringing like most of the multiple storylines together into one. So it's just, again, just setting everything up for the big
It's
big
transitory.
finale.
So it's like it's necessary, but it's not like at the pinnacle, like not at the climax yet.
Well, I'm gonna dare to be different. I extremed it. I mean, I get the point that this is kind of like the middle child syndrome episode, but I love the reveal of like, you think the X-Men are ahead, but then Apocalypse is kind of like, no, I know
No,
exactly
bitch.
what you're
Yeah.
doing.
That's fun.
And then the reveal of Mystique in the end, like I think it's just a fun way to. You're right. We knew they were gonna get Xavier, but the way it's handled to me is really exciting. So I pushed it a little ahead, but I still like
Okay.
part 2 the best because of Psylocke.
Psylocke.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 100%. That's the best
Yeah.
episode in this part. Is it 4 or 5 parts?
Four
I can't
parts.
remember.
Cool. So next up is most excellent player. So we'll start with Amanda this time. Who stood out to you?
I mean, I can tell you who the least excellent player is, and that's Jubilee.
Was she in this?
whole episode, like she gets,
Yeah.
yeah,
that's right.
she's like in the background.
Okay.
And then from that we have Rogue, who also gets to do nothing, Storm, who gets to fly around for a bit, and then Shard, who at least gets to get some sassy beast. It just goes to show you that the X-Men, the best X-Men are women, except on the X-Men cartoon. But I think the best player is like the reveal of Mystique. Like we kind of know that Mystique is up to something, but we don't know what. So like her like turn, and again, it's also just such a weird thing. Like Apocalypse could have done that without Mystique there, but it is sort of fun to just have her be there.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. I love the reveal so much. I was like, he didn't need her at all.
Right. It's just dramatic effect, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's Apocalypse just being like, how can I make this more dramatic?
Suddenly he shows up and he's like, now sing.
Right.
Quite literally.
How about you, Kevin?
I chose Beast just because he's his friendly, nice, helpful self this whole time. You know, people hate Beast a lot in the comics, but in this animated series, he's such a sweet, adorable kind of smarty. You know, so I liked him a lot.
Yeah, just the fact that he happened to guess exactly what's going on with Bishop and Shard's like, no, fuck you, you're obviously wrong, go shave. And then the fact that he saved everybody from dying, like, yeah, he's pretty important.
Yeah. You didn't pick your pair, MXP.
Oh, I did. I said Beast.
No, you didn't. Did you?
Yeah, I just did.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
You hate me.
I think you were just agreeing with me. I don't know if you said yours. Okay.
Oh. Just to be clear, mine is also Beast.
Okay.
Actually, I did skip this, though. Did you see Kang?
I did not.
Oh, you're good. You are so good.
So that means he's in the next episode, right? That's
I don't know. I've never seen this before. And what would you say is the X factor? So what makes this stand out within X-Men lore, or what's your favorite part of the episode?
I just have betrayal and twists. Battles. Being right in the middle of comic book soap opera.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's like a favorite part of the episode, but it is very like action kind of heavy. Like it's definitely like we're trying to get to the next thing. Again, like kind of like what we said before. Like this suffers from middle child syndrome, and as a middle child, I get that. But like I mean, to me, there's not really anything. I mean, I guess maybe like the Mystique reveal, even though you kind of know Mystique is going to be showing up doing something because We've already seen her in 2 other scenes.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say I think what stands out to me, especially thinking of like Cable and Bishop in the comics, like the way the X-Men can turn on each other in like 2 seconds flat. So I think they did a good job of kind of showing that, yeah, they're all friends, but the minute they feel their mission is different from one another, then they're an asshole, just like Cable was in this episode.
You know what I enjoyed? I enjoyed Archangel going over that death thing. He's like, "I used to have your job."
Yeah, that was a good line.
That was pretty fun. Yeah.
All right, and this week's question, I decided to make it a little easier again. This is just a vote. You have 2 options, and this is what Demando was referring to earlier. But in X-Men 97, who do you want Jean to be Prager's with? Do you want it to be Cable, or do you want it to be Rachel?
See, before all the new revelation, I was gonna say Rachel because we haven't really seen her in the series. It'd be cool to see her in a new series. But if it is Madeline, then it's obviously gonna be Cable, right? So
Yeah.
So with the Funko Pop being released, that is Madeline with baby Nathan, and it is part of like the X-Men 97 release of the Funko Pops. I'm like, guys, way to spoil it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like it just seemed well, and again, it may absolutely not be, but from other previous interviews with Larry Houston, when we see Cable and Time Bandits earlier, he said that the redhead that you see in Cable's like backstory, like when he has like a flashback, is supposed to be Madeline.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not Jean the way that everybody thought that it was. But again, she's a clone, so she looks exactly like her. But so he apparently had always kind of had an idea to bring Madeline eventually in. I think it would be interesting. Again, I've seen a fan theory that Sinister has switched her out in one of these episodes at some point. So like maybe post Dark Phoenix or something where when she gets captured, like even in this episode, like in this series of episodes, that Sinister, because he's the one who captures her at their second wedding. So maybe it's not Jean after this episode that Sinister captured her and replaced her with Madeline. Again, who knows? Obviously, we'll see when it plays out. I, of course, am a huge Rachel fan. I would love it if it were Rachel. However, I still have a feeling that it's going to be baby Nate in the cartoon.
That makes a lot more sense because there's a part of me that I don't know why. I don't know if there's enough even story to make it dramatic enough to be good, but I've always wanted to see X-Men comics like make Rachel's birth by Jean canon. Because right now, as it stands, she's like part of a future that never happened. So it kind of doesn't make sense as to why she's here. So I was really excited thinking that maybe Jean is pregnant with Rachel and then Madeline is pregnant with Cable. But it makes a lot more sense for like a cartoon that's geared towards, kids and us weird adult fanboys that it would be simplified. So like Madeline just being pregnant, not both of them. So thank you for shattering my world.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would be interesting, but also, I mean, Claremont has a really hard, like he made it because he's Claremont, that there are no alternate realities of Rachel. Like Rachel is just like her own character. There is no Rachel in multiple realities, and he established that in the Cross Time Caper, like in Excalibur, and then throughout all of those stories. Even though there have been other Rachels in like What If stories and all of that, Claremont is pretty still firm in the fact that Rachel is her own unique being and not. And is not available in the multiverse. However, that also goes with a lot of fan theories that in the Days of Future Past universe that Rachel is from, that she's actually the child of Phoenix and not the child of Jean Grey, which would kind of make a little more sense, and also why she's been the best Phoenix host and it didn't drive her crazy.
That makes sense.
But But anyway, I'm a huge Rachel fan. I would love it if they did that. It would also be like a cool twist to pull to be like, oh, actually, they had a little baby girl. Can you guys imagine?
And then there's just a quick scene
would
in
be
the end
cute.
of like Madeline giving birth. Ah, and it's Cable.
I mean, the thing is that maybe Madeline is still going to appear, and she's just going to appear with baby Nathan, and they're going to be like, "Wait, how did she get pregnant?" And Mr. Sinister will be like, "Ha ha ha
As he's holding a turkey
I'm
baster.
a cloner." Like, yeah,
There you
Yeah.
go. Amazing.
Whew. Sorry, that was a lot to get through. That was really exciting, though.
Amazing.
So before we get to our little wrap up, Kevin, our last part of this, our last episode of season 4 is Beyond Good and Evil, End and Beginning. How do you think this could possibly wrap up?
Oh, this is the beginning. Okay, no. Well, it's probably going to tie everything together, everything we've seen, and tie it up with a little bow because it was supposed to be the finale, but it was not the finale. So it's going to have like a bunch of the villains kind of team up. They're going to be defeated. X-Men are going to be like, we're home. Oh, we're retiring or something. No. I don't know. I don't know. Something like that. Let's go back to the mansion.
I love it. Well, we will see in 1 week when we get to the last part with another esteemed guest to wrap up season 4.
Yeah.
Speaking of esteemed guest, Amanda, it has been so wonderful meeting you, and I love your theories on X-Men and how much of an X-nerd you are. Thank you so much for coming on to our show.
Thanks, you guys, so much. I had a lot of fun talking about and kind of ripping apart my favorite TV show ever. Again, for those listening, this is still like my favorite TV show, and I do at least a yearly rewatch of it. So yeah, I love the X-Men, and I love this cartoon. It's also my favorite animated series of the X-Men. The other ones I always find problems with.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, Wolverine and the X-Men was really good, but it wasn't quite this level.
It still focused on Wolverine a little too much. Like it had too many like Wolverine solo episodes, which I'm like, again, I get whatever, but it's like they could have done so many other things. I did find it to be interesting in the fact that it took it, unlike Evolution, which really went in a completely different direction, which is fine, but it really kind of molded what was previously canon that like people would know from like previous cartoons, the stuff that was going on in the comics right then, and also like other characters that they hadn't introduced yet, and really kind of like creating their own thing, which I thought was really interesting in Wolverine the X-Men. Evolution, I honestly didn't care for, which I know like the people in the generation below me are like, Evolution is the best. And I'm like, it really wasn't, but I'm not going to get
I would never agree with you in front of Kevin because he likes Evolution more than me, but I wasn't a big fan of Evolution either.
I think because, I'll talk, when we start covering Evolution, but it's cool we could do 97 first, but when we start covering Evolution, it'll be fun to talk about. I think I just fell in love with Scott in that series. Cyclops in that series makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I mean, it is arguably also the best cartoon version of Jean that we ever got in Evolution. However, also the worst Storm.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
And at least we got Iceman.
Yeah, that's true.
And Demanda, where can people find and follow you and your wonderful drag?
Yes, so you can find me across all social media at Demanda Martini, DMANDAMARTINI. I literally just posted my October schedule at the beginning or at the end of every month. I post my next month's events, so you can find me all over the DC area if you are local to DC.
Nice. Woo. Kevin, how about you and your clean-shaven face?
I know, I'm just a baby person. You can find me on my personal Instagram, KJEEZY87, where sometimes I'm mostly bearded and recently clean shaven. Or you can follow my other podcast page, Words of the Witches, where Shawn is helping me cover the comic books. We're on break right now a little bit while I do my play, but we're coming back at the end of October. So yay.
Yay. And I've made a lot of changes since we recorded last. I am no longer doing my magical journeys. We also halted or stopped permanently. I can't even remember, Marvelous Galaxy of Disney, just because I think I was doing too much. Starting school actually this Sunday, so I don't have time for all this stuff anymore. I currently do have a job. It may be temporary, I don't know, but I took a job at Starbucks just while I'm going to school, so I have time to study as well. So lots of things happening in the world of Shawn.
I know. Yeah.
But
Welcome to your new journey.
Thank you. But out of everything that I'm giving up, I'm safeguarding my Kevin podcast. So no, you don't have to worry about those.
Yay.
Yay. All right, Sexy Exies, thank you for listening. And we'll see you next week with the end of season 4 and Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah, see us.
See us. All right, stop it.